It is my pleasure to present to you the 2021 report on Serbia. Let me begin by thanking all of those who have contributed to the report, especially my shadows. It was my ambition to set out a fair, realistic, and accurate report on the current political developments in Serbia, with a particular focus on Serbia's EU path. The draft of this report was prepared as Russia's aggression against Ukraine unfolded, and as for most issues linked to world affairs, February 2022 was a defining moment that will change Europe's history and certainly Europe's future. We are committed to Serbia's European Union accession. This is very clear, and it's stated in the first paragraph of the report. The European Parliament's political priority has not changed over the years. It remains solid. This House remains a staunch supporter of EU enlargement. As the European Parliament reiterates its support for Serbia's EU membership, it also recalls that a credible enlargement perspective requires political will, sustainable efforts, and irreversible reforms in all areas, particularly those linked to the rule of law, as well as unwavering commitment to European standards and values. How do we measure the accession pace? The report reiterates that the progress on the rule of law and fundamental rights chapters, full alignment with EU's foreign security and defense policy, including sanctions against Russia, as well as the normalization of Serbia's relations with Kosovo, will determine the pace of accession. This is no news to our partners in Serbia. The EP's position has been clear on this point in many years and in other EP reports during previous years. And while repetition might sometimes seem a bit dull, it remains important to be consistent. Certain open issues remain as open as they were at the opening of the accession negotiations. This regards improving electoral conditions, fight against corruption and organized crime, improving media environment, and repeated calls for cross-party consensus on EU-related reforms for ensuring the country's progress on its EU path. And we do not have to look far in history. We can just look at this year's events, when we do regret that even after 3 months since the elections in April, we are still weeks away from forming a parliamentary majority in Serbia. The official results were announced today, and this is good news. I welcome it. And this happens, however, at a crucial time in Europe's history, marked by major geopolitical shifts, socio-economic problems, and as war in Ukraine wages on, Serbia is without a new government. So I do believe valuable time is being lost. A time to make strategic choices is valued even more. EU accession is Serbia's strategic priority, and it is Serbia's strategic decision. So we need to see it treated strategically by political leadership in Serbia. It is therefore important to start moving towards the EU, not sideways. This report is a complex political document that tackles the most pressing issues linked to Serbia's reforms and EU accession path. It is meant to be read as such. It is not a single issue report. And credit is given where credit is due. For instance, in the successful conduct of the 2022 referendum on constitutional amendments. Also, the April elections were a step forward compared to the 2020 elections, and rightly so resulted in a more pluralistic parliament. We welcome the constructive role of the opposition, and as parliamentarians are glad that an electoral boycott was averted. This resulted in a more pluralistic parliament, which is ultimately the most important thing in a modern parliamentary democracy. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank my former colleagues Tanja Fajon and Knut Fleckenstein for their work in the inter-party dialogue, and pay tribute to the late Eduard Kukan, who worked on issues related to Serbia's EU future until the very last days of his life. I'm sure he would like to see Serbia moving forward on its European path. And as this report underlines, there is a clear map and a clear plan how this can be achieved. But the ball is very much in the hands of the new leadership, in the hands of the new government. And this relates to all the key issues which I've outlined. Rule of law reforms, dialogue with Pristina, as well as full alignment with the EU's international positions. I hope we can make progress on this. And as the standing rapporteur of this House, I stand ready to help to work together with our partners in Belgrade. And of course, I look forward to listening to the Commission and also to the colleagues, and I look forward to a fruitful debate on this report. Thank you very much. I would like to thank those who see Serbia as a strategically important partner in the Western Balkans, and who understand that Serbia's successful EU path is more important now than ever. I've noted all of your concerns, and I will communicate them to the Serbian political leadership. Let me just say three things. One, accession talks are not a single-issue talks, and Serbia did open Cluster 4, and Serbia can make progress on accession talks if it makes progress on domestic reforms. I do believe, this is my second point, that Serbia belongs in the European Union, but much has to be done, and much has to be done by the leadership and the government and the new parliament in Belgrade. Third point, when I look at the past 100 years of Serbian history, I certainly do not see Russia as playing a dominant role, and I hope that all the relevant pro-European Serbian political forces can discover and rediscover this part of the history and based on their decisions when looking to the future, because I am convinced that Serbia has a European future and Serbia's place is among the EU member states. But at the same time, after the April 2022 elections and Russia's war aggression, there is a real sense of urgency that our partners in Serbia move forward decisively on their European path. And this report reflects factually on the complex political reality in Serbia and encourages all pro-European forces in the country to focus fully on progress in rule of law reforms, Belgrade-Pristina dialogue, and alignment with EU international positions. We note, and I think all of us heard it today, that much can be done for Serbia's move towards the European Union. And as the European Parliament's rapporteur, I stand ready to engage with the new leadership in Belgrade in order to work on the European future of Serbia. Thank you very much.